Hi everybody! So I've had a few requests for more looks from the makeup book from 1989. I did one tutorial before and I picked my favorite one, and as I was trying to decide what to do, I thought that I would just eventually work my way through all of them. Over time, I will get through trying all of the tutorials, the pictorials in this book. So I am starting with number one, look number one, which is pretty spectacular. It's very colorful. A lot of these looks are very colorful with a lot of different placement than what we would see now. So I don't have identical matching products that are used in all these tutorials, so I just make do with what I have. I might have to combine a couple of products to get a similar sort of effect, but I'm going to be trying to follow the steps as closely as possible with the tools and the products that I have. And I will include little images as well from the book so that you guys can see as well. And if you feel like following along, please do. This is a lot of fun and it's really interesting to see the different styles and application of makeup from a different time. So let's get started with this colorful makeup look. I will have all the products I used listed in the description box, but just use whatever you have. So let's begin with step number one. So I just had to find a mirror. I thought that I would just use this one from Anna Sui that a friend gave to me. So step number one is concealer is positioned on dark and recessed areas and lightly blended with a firm brush. So I'm going to do my best to try and balance everything. So I have a kind of concealer brush. This is one from Sephora. It is the Pro Airbrush Concealer Brush, and it's my favorite for concealer. And I'm using the Glossier Stretch Concealer because it's a bit of a lighter coverage. So like normally I would under eye correct, and all I have on right now is just my skincare because I did my skincare like an hour or so ago. I was waiting for it to be a little bit quieter. I hate applying things with a brush. Okay, you know what? No, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I hate strictly applying things with brushes. And I don't normally apply like concealer in large sections of my face. I am just, okay, whatever. I'm gonna use my finger as well because it's not gonna blend very well. I have troubled sort of skin and a lot of like dryness and kind of stuff, so I need to drink some more water because I can tell that's a problem. So dark, recessed places. I really just think that's kind of like the under eye area, focusing mostly on that kind of inner. So I do think, okay, already that's a little bit better. The next step is foundation applied with a sponge. So it specifically says a creamy textured foundation is applied using light rolling movements with a damp cosmetic sponge. So I am going to use the Fenty foundation with a little bit left of this. So I'm going to do like 2 pumps, maybe like 2.5. Rub any leftover product on my face. And using a beauty blender that I did dampen before I brought it out here. If you struggle with using like a sponge for application and you, for whatever reason, don't wet it, that would be the problem. Trying to apply it with a damp brush just does not work very well, so. I haven't used a beauty blender to apply my foundation in such a long time. Such a long time. I usually just do brushes, but maybe I need to bring it back again. I need a new beauty blender, but I kept putting off buying a new one. Like I used to buy one every year because, or I'd buy like 2 every year so I could replace them more often. Like I'd buy the sets of them, but I just find that they're so expensive, and because I was using brushes more, I kind of slacked on the beauty blender train. And I think it also just became less trendy. Like it was such a phase that was popular on the internet. Totally know that's why I got into it. So just making sure that I get it into all of those spots and it says blended as it possibly can be. Considering there is no primer or anything else, it's just what I had on my skin before, just my skincare, which was just like a moisturizer and a face oil and an under eye cream, which is what I used this morning for hydration on my skin. But it's still, like, I can tell my skin needs moisture, and I have been slacking on the water, as I mentioned, so I know that makes a difference. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Step 3 is loose translucent powder is applied to the face and gently pressed into place using a puff. So I don't have a puff. I did at one point because I think it came with this particular one, which is the one I'm going to use, which is just the Mayron Color Set Powder, translucent setting powder, but I believe I got rid of it. So I'm just going to use a brush to sort of tap that all over my face. I don't normally use powders. I kind of like the way that the foundation was sitting on my face before powder. So loose translucent powder is applied to the face and gently pressed into place using a puff, or in this case, I'm kind of tapping with my brush. Then excess powder is dusted off with a large soft brush using sweeping downward movements. So I feel like I put a lot of powder on, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I could still apply more. These pictorials don't, I feel like, cover every step. They kind of are just like a basic outline. And then there's sometimes, it's just like with watching a tutorial, sometimes you kind of have to fill in the gaps from what is not talked about. Sometimes steps are steps. How did I even get skip? Sometimes steps are missed. So anyway, I think that should cover it for the powder. I found this really soft brush that was from my Too Faced contour kit, and I'm just gonna brush downwards to see if I can get any loose excess powder blended away. Step 5 is additional translucent powder is patted under eye area to protect the foundation from falling eyeshadow. So this probably would be a lot easier with some kind of a sponge, so I'm gonna use that Too Faced. Oof. I'm just gonna get powder everywhere. It's gonna be like all up in this book. I don't know how people do this, like, without making a mess. Like, how do you actually get the powder on your face without getting it everywhere on you? Like, I just feel like it's all over me. Oh dear. So I have a few more books and makeup related books if people would be interested in seeing other things. So I have both of the Kevin Aquan books. I have Amon's book, I have Bobbi Brown's book, I have a Mary Quant book, I have Cindy Crawford's book from the 90s, which doesn't really have like a pictorial, but just like basic steps for makeup. I am coated in powder, and I'm wearing black pants, so that's fun. At least it's just translucent powder, and I know it will come off. I just kind of hate having that all over me, but this is the way that these things happen sometimes. Hopefully you guys enjoy the mess that is happening. Anyway, number 6, step 6 is a loose iridescent eyeshadow is brushed from lash line to socket line using a firm round-ended brush. So I wasn't quite sure what to use. I did some digging to see if I had like a loose powder shadow or something that would work, and the closest I found, which looks closer to the picture than I think a lot of the things I have, is this MAC Pigment, which is Warm Snow from a set I got many moons ago. But I thought this might be the most appropriate thing. Now, I don't play with loose powder shadows, loose pigments very often. If I do, it's usually because I'm mixing it with something. I'm not using them dry. So again, this is lash line to socket line. So I think I got picked up too much product there on this brush. Ooh, it's pretty though. I haven't used this in a long time. I think this brush I chose to use is a little bit too big for my eye. So I'm getting too much product on like the inner portion of my eye. I also don't have a whole lot of lid space, so I am bringing it a little bit up further, but again, adapting, following as closely as I can. I like that. I like that like light kind of shimmer. I think that worked really well. I think that it would have been easier to control if it was a pressed shadow, obviously, instead of the powder, or if I was using it sort of wet, a little bit more controlled, but I like the way that that looks for sure. I have to remember this. Get some use out of some of my things that have just sort of been sitting around. This is also fun for shopping my stash as well and helping me rediscover things. So step 7 is socket line and outer corner lid are given depth and impact using a medium tone blue eyeshadow. For most of the colorful stuff, I bring out my Viseart Editorial Brights palette, and I'm just gonna dip my brush in between the two blue shades and socket line. So it does look like it is brought in. Socket line and outer corner, so there we go. Step 8 is a glittery pink eyeshadow, highlights the brow area and lends color contrast for added attention. Pack color firmly into the brush and then release gently onto the eyelid. So I couldn't find like a glittery pink, so I'm gonna go with pink first and then with more of like an iridescent on top. But trying to look at the picture to see how kind of far in it goes. What fun. That is so fun. So I have these Aftershock highlighters from Clionadh Cosmetics, and I'm gonna take the one called Spark, which is a little bit of a pink, just to run over the pink from the Viseart palette, because I think it'll lend more of that like iridescence kind of, yes, exactly. Just in lieu of like an actual glittery pink shadow, because I couldn't find one with what I had fairly easily. I might have had one in a palette somewhere, but I just wasn't digging through all that stuff, so. Pink and blue, very, very 80s. So I like the way that that looks there. Number 9, step 9 is a light gold powder is applied to highlight the inner eye corners from lashes to eyebrows in a soft V shape. All edges must be softened, leaving strength of color in the center of the V. So this is pretty cool. I do actually do this a lot anyway. This is something that I've been liking to do with the way that I apply makeup. I'm using a pigment from Notoriously Morbid when they had a Fleetwood Mac collection years ago. So I'm gonna use that gold. It's a loose powder as well. It's a little, it's more golden, because it does say a light gold powder, and what they're using in the photo looks more yellow. Then this is actually reflective gold. Inner eye corner right up to the eyebrow. This is really pretty. Okay, I thought I was gonna kind of hate this, but I think this is like a real look. I'm gonna go with probably a little of the yellow from the Viseart palette on top to try and kind of match the gold in the photo a little bit more, but I like the way that this particular gold looks with these sort of blues and iridescent kind of shades. I do feel like this is such a cool editorial kind of color. I really like this. Okay, so, and that was Shatter Your Illusions, by the way. That's what that was called. And so I'm going to take the yellow from the Viseart palette on the same brush. Just to get more of that yellow. Okay, just take a moment to like appreciate this. So pretty. I really like that. Okay, so number 10 is colors are blended and merged using a deeper shade of pink. Always make sure to use a clean brush for blending. So, fortunately, I did plan ahead. Again, sticking with the Viseart Editorial Brights palette. Colors are blended and merged. Okay, we're not gonna go too far into all of these. We're not gonna overblend. Number 11, darker eyeshadow is blended under the lower lashes. This helps to enlarge and enhance almond-shaped eyes. Further emphasis is given by lining the upper lid from inner to outer corners with a black liquid liner. Okay, that's the part I might struggle with. It doesn't say what the shadow is on the lower lash line, so I'm gonna use the dark blue shadow, because it does say blended under the lower lashes. So I'm gonna stick with the darker blue. Okay, so I just went and grabbed, I just found the last remnants of one of these old KVD liquid liners, which seems to have a little bit of strength left in it. As I keep avoiding going to the drugstore to buying a just new black liquid liner. It skips a little bit, so that's what makes it a little bit challenging, but it just says upper lid from inner to outer corners with a black liquid liner. Now we're on to number 12, which is eyebrows are emphasized and shaped with a dark matte eyeshadow in the direction of hair growth. So I'm going to use my NYX brow kit here because it is technically a powder, even if it is a brow powder. Just to make my life a little easier, I'm going to use just the brush it came in, and I used the little spoolie to just kind of comb my brows a little bit. Yeah, I think that works. Number 3 is several coats of black mascara are applied to upper and lower lashes, allowing adequate drying time between each application. So I have a struggle. Oh, at some point also the powder was brushed off. See, this is what I mean. They didn't specify when the powder was. So I'll do one coat. Okay, so I just did one coat, and then I'm just going to grab the brush and brush away the powder. So this is what we have going on so far. I'm putting a little, I always tend to skip lower lash mascara because it just ends up translating to my eyes. So like underneath the eye area, I just get mascara smudges. So we'll try it. Powder blusher is applied to accentuate the cheekbooks. Wow. rewind. Powder blusher is applied to accentuate the cheekbones and give warmth to the face. A large soft brush is ideal. I'm gonna use my go-to brush. I didn't know what blush to use, so I just grabbed this one from Milani since it just looked the simplest. And finally, full lips are complemented by a shimmery pink lipstick evenly blended with a small lip brush. I am going to use a combination of lip products. And there we have the completed look. So I'm just going to finish it. I'm not going to stylize it like it was in the book, but I'm just going to kind of fix myself up a little bit and show you guys what it looks like. All right, so this is the completed look. I love how colorful and fun this is. It really is just fun and lively and very simple. I love how simple these eye looks are, these whole makeup looks in general. There's not a whole lot going on. There's not too many steps. There's not a lot of preciseness, like not a lot of like fine lines or little details or that kind of stuff. It's really just about sort of the color, and I feel very, you know, happy and kind of light with this sort of makeup on, and it's not heavy. You know, there's not highlight, there's no contour, there's no fake lashes, there's not a whole lot of liner, you know, just like one like little line of black liner, and just a lot of color and fun. So I'd love to know what you guys think of this look. If you decide to do your own version of this look, I would love to see your creations. Please tag me on Instagram or Twitter or anywhere else, because I'd love to see what you guys come up with. And if you are inspired by this series and would like to see more, please give me a big thumbs up. It helps a lot, and it also helps my videos get seen more, and it helps the algorithm just a lot. So if you can engage in any way, it's very much appreciated. Let me know if you have any other thoughts, suggestions, ideas, requests for videos. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.